Greetings and welcome back to episode 20 of my Cosmoteer Let's Play. We're going to be starting this one off a little bit differently though than usual, as this is the second attempt at recording this episode, as sadly the first was missing any commentary. Thanks Windows Update, you titanic festering scoundrel you. But rather than simply throw away all of that footage, a large part of it was redesigning and walking through the redesign process of the Dapper 4. I figured I'd just try and pull that footage together into a kind of a build montage, similar to the way that we've used stream footage previously. Then, after that, we'll start fresh and actually test out our new ship. Firstly, following an extensive comment from Nomi, I got to work redesigning my shields and specifically their positioning in relation to one another. The goal here was to better balance the amount of shields exposed by each shield system, as well as to use armor to limit how much shielding was being wasted to either side of the ship. Taking damage from the sun while not actually protecting anything wasn't useful to us, but was draining our battery. And I found that using armor in this way was a rather ingenious solution, because traditionally that would be a negative for a super shield, but here we were actually using it to our benefit. Next, we switched from shields to thrusters. Another of Nomi's suggestions touched on the possibility of pushing asteroids with the ship rather than pulling it with the tractor beam where that made sense. It won't always, but where possible, this will be much faster than using the tractor beams. But initial tests showed that it would be quite difficult to control the movement of asteroids without something to stabilize them. So in addition to adding much more thrust, I worked on creating a scoop that we could use to secure asteroids wherever we get the chance to push them around like this. This also ties into another comment from Rogue Squadron, who suggested that rather than simply flying backwards, I could switch the direction of travel on the go once I'm hauling or pushing an asteroid, rather than painstakingly having to try and micromanage the ship's alignment and prevent it from trying to turn around and fly forwards when all I wanted to do was to fly backwards. Finally, Daniel pointed out that while cannons may seem the obvious choice for a combat suite for the Dapper 4, mining lasers could prove perfect for the Sunlifter, since they do appreciable damage, albeit for a high energy cost, and can similarly be built inside the ship rather than on its perimeter, so it doesn't take up the space of a shield, for example. Coupling this with two tractor beams could allow the DPR-4 to reposition enemy ships to limit their exposure to enemy weapon systems while salvaging them, which would massively increase the resources that we got from any particular wreck as well. So in the combat role, I guess this is still ultimately an industrial ship, and I kind of like that idea. It's not got combat like military weapons, it's just using its industrial tools in an offensive capacity. That kind of really gels with the theme of this ship. Welcome back. After an indeterminate amount of time, I'm sure, as I don't yet know how much footage I will have been able to recover from the failed recordings, but nevertheless, here we are. We are in an asteroid field that I have now cleared out, and we need to get the bounty on. And the Hercules is currently stripping up the remaining carcasses, having already stripped quite a lot of the asteroids, namely the copper ones, so that we finally have all of the materials we need to... Oh. Damn it. Are we still making... It looks like maybe I jumped the gun there. We need some copper over there, and I need to turn off the hypercore factory. This is the problem with the hypercore factory. It doesn't just stop. It just keeps using up all of your precious, precious copper. Right, let's grab all of that from down there. We'll also turn off the processor factory as well. That should give us what we need. Let's just have a quick look. How much did we need? Yeah, we're very, very close. So that amount of copper from over there will easily satisfy our needs. But I have been using the Sunlifter to lift some asteroids from around the sun. We even managed to get incredibly close, much closer than I was expecting, to hoist an enriched uranium, or rather a uranium asteroid, and as such, we've got a rather large amount. We have made a few purchases here and there, but mostly it has been from mining that we've managed to accrue the necessary materials, so that we can, at last, say, make it so. Right, Now, this ship is not going to have nearly enough crew for what it needs, so that's going to require the Hercules... sorry. Poor Hercules. Right, let's transfer across as many... almost all of the crew. Yes, kind of, I guess. Let's not quite go that far, though. Let's keep about 33 aboard the Hercules, and we will head in and trade off a little bit here and there to try and refill it. Okay, an extra fame of 166 for clearing the asteroid belt. That is fantastic, actually. And we can hire the full 11 crew at this station. Now, hopefully, we've got a couple of ships heading our way. No, they are not. Well, that is a little bit of a shame. Oh, well, we'll just keep moving crew between the Hercules and not the Warden. No, that is the wrong one. And the Dapper 4. There we go. That brings the Dapper 4 up to its full crew complement. Fantastic. And while we're waiting then, the Hercules can just slowly replace its crew. Every now and then, the station will restock on available crew members. It can usually take a few minutes or for a ship to have docked. It seems that prompts the station to regenerate its trades as well as its crew. But while all of that is going on, I need to take care of the Dapper 4's crew assignments. So give me just a moment to get everything as it should be. And welcome back to the Hercules, hopefully able to fill out its crew roster a little bit more. The Dapper 4 has got all the crew it needs, and this actually gives me an opportunity to showcase how you can hire crew from other ships. Now, I think there is a bit of confusion, certainly in the comments, if not in the community at large. There doesn't appear to be any difference to the amount of crew that you can hire. For example, the crew from ships don't cost less, and it's not like you can hire more of them. The Fame acts as a crew limit to how many crew you can command, not like a currency that you spend. So there isn't a different price. It's just the less crew you have, the more crew you can afford to hire based on the Fame that the gap between your current Fame, or rather the current crew controlled by your Fame, and the maximum crew you can control via your Fame. I think some of the confusion may have arisen simply from the same problem that we were having here. A station with very few crew to hire in general, and then a ship comes along with a lot more crew to hire, and it might have created the perception that it's somehow cheaper, or you can hire more crew if you do it from ships. But it's all coming from the same pool. You've got the same maximum crew limit no matter what, and we have now hit that. So it's probably about time that we get out there and crack some more eggs. On that note, let's send the Scarab and the Fire out for a little bit of out to cause a little bit of trouble. And while we're doing that, the Dapper 4, which has had its full crew roster set up, is going to get a bit of a test run. First and foremost, we are testing its maximum speed, which seems to be slowing down. It's about 85.5 traveling forward. Now let's see what it can do when it's traveling backwards. Remember, it does have more thrust in reverse than it does going forward, simply because it feels to me like that is a sensible thing to do. You don't want to be dallying while you're trying to leave the heliosphere. Okay, we found some enemies over here. I'm not entirely sure which one this one is. Is this to eliminate 2 targets? No, none of them are to eliminate 2 targets. Which one is this then? This might not be a mission that we've accepted yet. Please don't crash into the sky. Oh, you scallywag. Alright, fine. Scarab, reverse a little bit. Fire Ant, hold tight. This, is the enemy already... the enemy is already on its way. You absolute scoundrel, you. If we lose a ship because of this, I'm not going to feel bad at all about railgunning a hole through you in order to attack our enemy. Are we stuck on you? Oh, my lord. Fine, just spin all the way around, Scarab. Just let them go. Let them go! They won't leave me alone. Look. Okay, no means no. Let me free. There we go. Oh, my lord. Okay, so maybe there are some downsides to the wingy bits, I guess. All right, down before you're going to have to chill out for a moment while I deal with this scoundrel. We've got a Guardian. It's not an enemy that I'm particularly worried about, though the positioning could be better at this point. I'm not going to lie. All right, let's get the Fire Ant in as well, because we're going to want some missile cover. Scarab, if I recall, yes, the cockpit is right there. Now, there's a good chance that we're going to explode the cockpit and the reactor and core the ship. Now, the Guardian does use tractor beams. Not super fond of that. That is my tactic, not yours. How dare. No, no, no way. Leave me alone. My goodness. Right. Let's see the Scarab fan its rails across the enemy here. If indeed it can. There we go. We're going to probably punch through armor a lot here for a little bit. Are you... What are you doing? No. I don't need an audience. Please, no. You're going to cause me trouble. You're going to get hit as well. And I don't want that either. Even though you probably deserve it at this point. Alright, let's have the Scarab try to be a little bit closer. It can use its ions at that point. Maybe this ship will leave us alone. Oh, my lord. Why is it stuck to me? Are we actually stuck in it or something? I don't know. I know that components will interface with the structure, the structural beams, but you are going to cause me all kinds of shenanigans whilst trying to fight. You do realize that, right? Let's fan through. Hopefully the Scarab is still able... There we go. We managed to get through. The Scarab does seem able to spin. It's got enough thrust down here that this ship isn't really able to reposition it, which is ever so fortunate for us. All right, I'm going to want to fan back down. The next rail fan will probably finish you if indeed I can do it without your tractor beams harassing me. Let's try and spin back through. Let's see what happens. There we go. And pop. Now... Will you please leave? Albatross. This is awkward for both of us. My lord. Okay, the Albatross finally got the message. And has left the Scarab alone. Let us hope that that does not happen again. Ooh, we took a little bit of damage there. I didn't repair that while I had the chance. That was silly of me. I could always send the fire ant back up to where the fight took place. There'll be wreckage all around here. Let's park about there. That should be enough. There we go. Thank you very much. And on our way back. Now, what we came over here to do was to test out the Sunlifter. Now, let's make sure that it's flying in the right direction. It is not. That would have been an awful mistake. Now, we have redesigned it, and I've got no reason to think that it's worse than it was before. However, we're dealing with a ship that is about 2/3 to 3/4 the entire cost of the Scarab right now. Largely because of the large reactors. Let's not take any unnecessary risks, shall we? So the first thing I'm going to want to do is select a point roughly in the middle of the star. About there. And that is going to give us our approach line. Now this should mean... Oh, are you not facing the right way? Oh, you should be. Why are you moving aside? This I don't... Okay, well you're trying to let me know that there are other asteroids. I appreciate that deeply, but oh, I think, I do believe the ship was trying to go around the sun because it's clever. Too clever for its own good, I'm afraid. Let's scooch in. I want to see what your shields can do at this point. Now, we should be more or less dead on towards the sun. We can see some enemy ships have run afoul of the sun's wrath. The NPCs are quite suicidal when it comes to stars, it seems. Now, at the moment, the main thing that I want to test is the outer shields. When they go down, I shouldn't see any damage being done to the armored fins, but we might be nicked a little bit based on our positioning, whether we're directly head on towards the sun or a little bit askew. When the second line of defense goes down, at that point I should see some damage happening to the armored fins, but only to the armored fins. It is only if the third line of defense should fail that we are going to see any trouble. Now I want to maximize speed just to see if this can sustain itself. And it looks like it can. I'm going to say that that is proof enough that it can sustain itself indefinitely at this point. Right, next thing then. Let's scooch a little bit closer. Let's go a little bit beyond the uranium asteroid. I think about here is as far in as I have gone. Oh, there's a titanium asteroid over there. This will be as... Oh, there's a titanium asteroid down there as well. Oh, so much titanium. Right, I'm going to need to mark a couple of these. That one is going to be a difficult get. Though it's probably about as close as the uranium asteroid I collected whilst building the rather getting the supplies together to redesign the Dapper 2. Now I'm going to mark where all of these asteroids are, because I'm going to have to go out and in for each one. The reason for that is I need to approach it straight on, and the Dapper 4 currently has no lateral thrust, which is a design flaw. One that I could probably easily fix, but I'm not particularly enthusiastic about doing that. Right, let's have a watch of what your shields do. At this rate, we lose the outer shield. That is understandable. And we start to take a bit of damage on our armor down here when that happens. That's fine. That's based on our direction toward the sun. Now, dare we try? This is the question. Now, I could just scooch a little bit, by little bit, or I could go all the way out and back in. And I think that's probably the wisest move. So let's go return direction. Now I know what it is, and just back away from the sun. Just go all the way back out the way you came, please. As fast as you can. We clearly can't sustain the outside shields, but it looked like the second line of defense was, for the most part, holding. It probably would fail if we got close enough to get that tri-seal. Honestly, this is just me being... this is me channeling my inner Icarus, okay? We are going full hubris for this. We're going to really test what the Dapper 4 can do. I've built my second most expensive ship in the game, and we're going to throw it at a sun. Because why not? Alright, let's line up more or less there. Now, as soon as we are within range of this tri-steel asteroid, I need to activate the tractor beams and then back away. Really aggressively. Let's make sure that both tractor beams are in a command group. And I'm going to want both of them set to pull as default for now. There we go. And while we're here, we'll set up all of the mining lasers as well. Right then. Let's get down there. And do it quickly. Can I repair this distance? I can. Fantastic. We'll only lose it anyway, but it's fine for now. Right. Are we going to be able to do this or not? Let's also pause there. I want to know, roughly speaking, what the maximum range is. I think we might be okay. If we can make this happen, this is going to be fantastic. It's a decent asteroid, but it is, at this proximity to the sun, it is melting. And it will soon lose the juicy bits on that asteroid that we're trying to collect. And that is true of all of them. They're slowly taking sun damage, and that is eating away at the outside of the rock. So you don't have forever to do this, so I wouldn't recommend using this particular method as the last thing you do. I think we're losing a little bit down there. Yeah, we're slowly melting that part of the armor, but that's fine for now. Right, let's get a connection. Can I get you to target? Ah, there we are. Tunk. And 2 as well. Tunk. Let's see if we can connect. Will they connect? Yes, they will. Perfect. Right, you desperately now need to start backing off. Now, from what I can tell, you can more or less do connect from about half a sensor's radius away outside of the range. And at that range, the pull is going to be quite significant. It seems the tractor beams have a lot more pull at the extremes of their range than the close together. So let's do about there. Let's see. This might be a little bit too extreme, actually. Looking at it, let's pull that in a little bit more, and we'll see if the tractors hold. They are, and they are pulling it back, and they're pulling it back reasonably fast because there's 2 of them. Okay, this isn't terrible. We've managed to reduce the amount of energy being applied to the shields at this point. Let's have a look. The outer shields have dropped. The inner shields, I can barely see what that one's at. This one is going down very, very rapidly, and it's down again, but the inner shield should be back up before this one is done. I really do need to add extra doors to the outside. We're about to lose the inside. Ooh, that was close. That was too close, in fact. Right, let's back off a little bit more. About here, I would say, would be good enough to maintain the connection. Now we're going to start speeding up a little bit. I have to let it approach a bit and then back off a little bit more, but every bit I back off is a little bit less strain on my shields. Let's go back a little bit further. At this point, we've pulled it beyond the point of the other Tri-Steel asteroid. So this is, generally speaking, going to be a relatively easy job to manage from this point forward. Alright, where's the Hercules at the moment? Hercules still over there. Let's get you down here, because you're about to have a very, very juicy meal. But there we are. I think as proof of concept and in practice, the Sunlifter is doing its job admirably. Now, what we haven't tested is whether the Sunlifter can do combat. Now, I'm not 100% about just sending it in as a lone vessel over here. I don't think that's the way the Sunlifter is built. It's not a Sundiver yet, but maybe one day it will be. We've got some decent power on it, though, in terms of its ability to do damage with the mining lasers as they're currently set up. Let's pull all of that out here. Let's go back a little bit more. Get it yoinked. There we go. I don't know if it is actually moving any faster whilst we're at the extreme ranges, but that is what folks said in the comments, so I'm going to trust you on that. Alright, let's grab the other Tri-Steel. Actually, no, let's grab the uranium. That's a little bit more important for me right now. Let's also make sure that I'm facing the right way. And this is what I'm going to be doing for the next few moments, so give me a few to get all of the juicy bits back out here and start to replenish our supply of components following building the Sunlifter, and then we're going to go and find ourselves a battle or two, and maybe we'll see the Sunlifter involved in said battle, but I wouldn't hold your breath on that one. And I think that's enough for now, though I have already marked another gold asteroid down there. But one last thing that the new and improved Dapper 4 can do, whilst it can't store any materials, that really doesn't stop it from mining them. So if we select the Dapper 4 and tell it to mine, it will happily use its mining lasers. And this is true of salvage as much as anything else, and the Dapper 4 has a lot more. Many more mining lasers than even the Hercules does, so the Dapper 4 is actually quite capable of stripping an asteroid down to its core components, whilst the Hercules can then hoover up all of the juicy bits. Now, with that said and done, we really do need to get out there and actually do some killing so that we can increase our fame and expand out the crew complement of the Hercules back to its maximum. Now, we've got an unknown signal there, we've got an unknown signal there. A couple of unknown signals, plenty of things to do, but there is a pirate base over here. And I'm thinking the best way to wrap up any episode is always crushing a pirate base. Or two, if there's two available, which there are not. So one will have to do. Okay, looks like we have got a potential contact. Let's see what we can do. Now, what kind of ship are we going to be facing right now? And it looks like it's barreling down towards the Fire Ant. It is an ion ship, not something I want the Fire Ant to have to deal with, frankly. Still, let's try and scooch across there. The Scarab is going to reverse around. Now, what could we hit? Oh, actually, you know what? The Pirate Hunter is a relatively easy ship for the Scarab to destroy, if the Scarab can catch it when it's set to the side. If not, then we have to do it the old-fashioned way and just go straight through and pop the cockpits. But if we can hit it from the side, then we can cause a massive chain reaction. You know what? To that end, let's have the Fire Ant actually get involved in this as well. It's been a little while since the Fire Ant got to play around. Let's have a watch. We're going to try and pop that reactor down the side there. That is going to mean that the Fire Ant's going to have to scooch a little bit closer, such that its nukes are within range. And of course, the Scarab is going to be swinging to and fro. Let's fan to the side there. And then in a moment, we'll fan back through. Let's go back up to 1x speed. And there we are. And there we go. I think that might actually be enough. No, it wasn't. This time we didn't manage to take everything out. Interesting. Very interesting. Are there nukes in the air? No, there are not. Okay, well, Fire Ant, you don't really need to use your nukes anymore. So let's retarget, but not give you a direct target this time. You can just use your main weapons, the HE missiles, Rather than using nukes on an already largely disabled opponent, we'll just go through... No, Scarab, come on. There we go. Tonk. And once again. As soon as you're ready. Now, this ship is basically dead in the water, and we're just putting it out of its misery at this stage in the most inefficient way possible. This is like trying to kill someone working up from their toes through their legs to their abdomen. My lord. Just go for the headshot. They're already dead. Let's try and direct our rails to the bridge there instead. Though, if it keeps moving to try and protect itself, I mean, you can't fault it for its survival instincts, I suppose. But really, this is just unfortunate. You've still... You're clinging on to dear life. You know what? I actually don't want to kill you at this point. You've earned it. If you can limp home somewhere and repair, well done you. Godspeed. Yes, we've got the pirate base. And also, yes, this is the equivalent of... Oh no. Oh, I appear to have stolen something. Well, I guess that proves that works. Hooray! Not quite what I meant to do, though. I'm going to be honest with you. We've stolen the station's weapons platform. Does that mean I could just... No, we're not going to do... It's so cheesy. Just stealing the weapons platforms and letting someone else kill the station is no different from pushing the station into the sun. I refuse. He says as he continues to drag it around. Okay, let's flip about again to face the correct way. There we go. Let's scooch in. There we go. No, don't attack me, you scoundrel. No, this is my kill. Go away. Kill stealer. Awful. Ruinous. Alright, let's grab hold of you. I would like to actually use this opportunity to test out the tractor beams specifically. So, right now I want to pull that one, and I want to pull this one. I don't want that side, I just want the front to be drawn toward. Can I spin it? And in fact, I probably need to maintain a sort of distance. Let's try and... Sure, let's actually try to pull it toward me. Let's rearrange our positioning as required. There we go. Not that that's actually what I wanted ultimately. So we want to now switch this tractor beam there, that tractor beam here. I want to try and see how I can maneuver things. I think it is going to be a combination of telling my ship to maintain a certain relative position to the target, as well as using the tractor beams to force it into that position for me. Now I want to be really up close and personal, and I want my tractor beams to all take apart this reactor, because we will get the maximum yield from this if we do that. As the reactor won't explode if we take it apart with mining lasers. It'll simply be salvaged, and all of its juicy enriched uranium will be ours for the taking. Out of the way, silly plates. There we go. And like that, it is now a wreck. I guess... Are you still actually attacking it? You kind of are. Sure. You can do what you want. I'll just allow you to take that apart. It's basically like a chick, okay? The scarab was feeding its young. Well, not that the scarab... That would be a very interesting evolutionary track. Nevertheless, we're letting it learn the ways of its weapons in a safe environment. Now, with that said, let's find out what the guardians of this pirate base are about. Can we get one or two, or maybe all of you, to aggress? I can almost certainly do it if I pop one of the defense platforms. Maybe even the station as a whole. Alright, let's just aim in there. See what we can do. And we will almost certainly summon the wrath of the main station. Ooh, okay. So all of your nukes down there. I could just go for the chonking bridge in the middle, and that might be the wise thing to do. If I can select the scarab, have it attack there, and reposition Like so, and that would be ideal. Right, now everything is moving in. That's fine. I now want you to... Yes, fly away. That way. Go. We've got them coming. Or at least it looked like it was. Have they locked on? No, they have not. Interesting. That means that we may have an opportunity for an alpha strike on this one. No, of course, it's slowing down right at the edge. Alright, we've got a lot of ions through there. We've got a lot of nukes on the very edge. A lot of forward thrust. Okay. Well, it's exactly the same thing. Let's see if we can't pop the armor on one side. Now, you will be driven more or less straight back towards the fire ant. That's fine. Fire ant can help out once you do. We have got our sight set. And we're just going to fan back and forth while all of this is going on. Now, we do seem to be able to maintain distance as we please. So let's fan once again. And then back. The other one is closing in. It's presenting a different side to us each time. I mean, I could just go for the thruster cluster. Let's be a little bit more strategic about this, shall we? Just because the Scarab is under no real threat doesn't mean that we shouldn't treat the engagement as if it were. Let's not underestimate our enemy. That's how most shenanigans in action films go. Oh, that also works. You could just turn around and... Okay, well, fair enough. I guess at this point we could send in the Sunlifter to eat it, but it would expose the Sunlifter to the weapon systems, and I'm not really up for that right now. Again, let's not underestimate our enemy. Let's swing our rails back through, and we should be able to just pop that. There we go. So we've got the next one coming in, exactly the same ship. At this point, I would very much like the Fire Ant to move aside. It looks like it really wants to take a chunk out of the Scarab, and I am A-okay with it doing that. And while all of that's going on, the Fire Ant could possibly move in, but honestly at this point I feel that the Fire Ant is largely assuming a support role. It's uncommon that the Scarab needs support, but it does occasionally happen. Oh wow, that was a close one. If we can make that happen again... Let's allow them to spin. They may have decided to head back, or they might be trying to chase the Fire Ant. I can't quite tell. Either way, they're going to be out of my engagement range soon, if not already. Let's spin. No? Are we engaging? Oh, damn it, we weren't. It's my fault there. Let's see if we can't fan. We may have just lost our opportunity. Yeah, I think we might have. Exceedingly unfortunate. Okay, well, let's scooch the Fire Ant close. See if they would like to re-engage. While all of that's going down, have you finished salvaging this? No, you stopped. Okay, fair enough. Let's have you just strip it apart just because you're there. That way the Hercules will be able to gather components a lot faster. Did it just try to get away because it was under so much threat from the Scarab, I wonder? If so, that's better AI than it's been showcasing up to now. Back through. Actually, I should really just use R. It's a lot easier. Now that I've gotten used to how to use it. There we go. We're probably going to be all the way through very soon. Oh, wow. Okay. It lined up perfectly for that shot, and we managed to call both reactors in one go. Okay, back to the important business of destroying this station. Now, what I would very much like to see is what orientation the station is at, and then finish it off. Let's scooch backwards until we're just within range. It seems that pirate bases have gotten no more dangerous even at this point. There we go. We want everything to fire on that point. if we can make that happen, that would be grand. Now, we are way, way too far out. Need to be about there, I would say. And at that range, well, no, actually nothing it's got is going to be able to hit us. I don't think it's got anything even remotely that capable. Alright, so at this stage, it is once again just a case of rotating to and fro, fanning the rails across an otherwise completely vulnerable opponent. There was nothing they could do about that. And now we can just mop up. Just let the Scarab do its thing. There we are. We should see at least one of the rails fire in a second. And let's not be silly and actually go down here and call this one from the right direction. Otherwise, we will just go all the way through the station. And as amusing as that is, you know what? Actually, no, that is really amusing. Let's make it happen. Unless the Scarab decides, no, I'm not going to be silly this time. Are you going to fire? Well, I mean, it's still got power, technically. Does it have more bridges? I don't actually say. It does still need to fan, though, because it really isn't built not to. And there we go. This is going to be hilarious if we can actually destroy it through the corpse of the station it was meant to protect. What an insult to a defense platform. Wow. That was just perfect. Okay, well, Hercules, you've got an awful lot of stuff to hoover up at this point. We'll come down here, we'll start gathering things from over here, and I'm going to take the Dapper 4 down to the base and start stripping everything apart. That is going to be it for this episode, though. I really do hope you like the new design of the Dapper 4. I've had a load of fun building it. There are still a few essential systems that aren't there. You may have already noticed that we don't yet have a hyper jump drive. We will be adding one of those, so it will necessitate some porters, unfortunately, but we'll just have to accept that. But at the moment, I think this is perfect for what it was designed to do, and that is to lift rocks out of the heliosphere. However, it does have the capability to be used offensively. Against most opponents, it is going to be hopelessly outmatched, but in a pinch, it might actually be able to deal with some of the enemies that we're going to be facing. I think if we're going to start throwing it into battles, though, it's going to necessitate adding some extra kinds of defense, such as point defense. I think it would be very, very silly for us to put this in harm's way without at least those tiny little enhancements. Again, going back to the whole flight philosophy in Eve, if you're going to be flying a several billion-isk ship, then you really shouldn't be humming and hawing between two defensive systems when the difference is only like 100,000-isk between the two. Go for the more expensive, better one, even if it's only a couple of % that it's going to improve the overall setup. As long as it doesn't harm the primary operation of the ship, then it should be included. So we will probably add in some secondary reactors and crew specifically to man the point defense, rather than pull away from the crew as they are, because they're doing their job properly right now. We don't want to give them extra duties that will take away from those jobs. We absolutely don't want to have anyone having to worry about reloading a point defense instead of rearming a shield, for example. But that is going to be it from me, from the Hercules, Fire Ant, Scarab, and the as yet unnamed Dapper 4. Still waiting for a suggestion to leap out of me in the comments, so if you do have any, then by all means throw them down below. But until next time, and as always, do take care, everyone.